This is from Jonah in Zambia. I think my voice has always been both my shield and my wound. When I sing, the world quiets for a moment, like it can't touch me. But when the song ends, silence rushes back, and I'm left wondering if anyone truly hears me. I was born in Africa with albinism, and in my community that meant people judged me before I could even speak. Some believed my skin was a curse that brought bad luck. Others thought I wasn't fully African, as if my lighter skin made me less of who I was. Every glance, every whisper reminded me that I was different in a way people feared or misunderstood. I remember being small, walking through the crowded market with my mother. The smell of roasted maize filled the air, and voices shouted prices over one another. But all I felt were eyes, fixed on me, unblinking. I didn't like people staring at me, so I gripped my mom's hand, hoping they stopped staring at me. When my parents split apart, I overheard whispers that it was my fault. They said my unusual skin had cursed our family, that I was a sign of something broken. I was just a child, too young to carry blame. Yet those words left a scar deep inside me, and I never forgot. At school, my desk felt like an island. Children around me laughed, shared food, whispered secrets, but not with me. I saw the pointing, the sideways glances, the way they shifted in their seats when I got too close. Their rejection was quiet but constant. I'll never forget walking home one afternoon when voices rose behind me. Cruel names, harsh laughter, the kind that made my skin feel heavier than my body. Some pointed, others stepped away as if I carried a sickness. I hurried my steps, my throat tight, wishing the earth would swallow me before their words did. That night, lying on my thin mattress, I whispered questions into the dark. Why was I born this way? Was I meant to be punished for something I never chose? My voice cracked, but silence offered no answers. Only the hum of insects outside filled the void where comfort should have been. One day I found an old guitar leaning against a wall in the church. Its strings were rusted, uneven. Still, when I strummed, a broken sound filled the air. It wasn't pretty, but it was mine, and for the first time, I felt like I was speaking a language the world couldn't take away. I began scribbling words on scraps of paper, clumsy verses about loneliness and fear. Late at night, I sang them quietly, as if confessing secrets to the walls. My voice shook, but every note felt like a piece of my heart escaping, a truth I couldn't say out loud to anyone else. When I was asked to sing in front of the congregation, my knees nearly buckled, faces blurred into one endless stare. I thought the laughter would come, sharp and cruel. Instead, when I finished, there was clapping, tentative at first, then steady. I stood frozen, hardly believing the sound was for me. That applause was small, but it cracked something open inside me. For the first time, I felt that my difference wasn't only a burden, or my skin wasn't a curse. It could also be a song, a light, a way forward. That moment didn't erase my pain, but it gave me a reason to keep breathing. Music became my hiding place. Every verse I wrote felt like a diary entry no one else could read. I poured the weight of my loneliness into chords, letting them carry what my shoulders couldn't. In those quiet moments, I realized the guitar was the first friend that never turned away from me. When I gathered the courage to sing at a small youth gathering, my hands shook so hard I could barely strum. My voice cracked on the first line, but I forced myself to keep going. A few people leaned in closer, eyes softening, and for the first time, I felt noticed instead of dismissed. Not everyone was kind. While I sang, I caught the glances, the whispers, the little smirks that said I didn't belong. My stomach tightened, expecting laughter. But then the applause came, small, hesitant, yet louder than their cruelty. For those few seconds, I clung to the sound like it was proof I mattered. That night, I walked home under a sky full of stars. The cool air pressed against my skin, but inside I felt light, almost lifted. Every step echoed. If music could make even a handful of people see me differently, maybe it could change more than just my own heart. Before we go on with the story, for your information, In many African countries, children with albinism grow up facing dangerous myths and painful discrimination. Harmful superstitions put their lives at risk, leaving many to hide in silence. The result is a childhood shaped by fear instead of freedom, and by shame instead of joy. And this isn't about race. I grew up in my own community, surrounded by people who shared my language, culture, and history. But my skin set me apart. Discrimination doesn't always come from outsiders. Sometimes it's born in the eyes of neighbors who can't accept difference. Now back to the story. After those gatherings, I realized my songs weren't only mine anymore. People would come quietly afterward, whispering their thanks, telling me they felt different too. Some confessed they carried invisible scars, hidden from everyone else. Hearing them reminded me that my voice could open doors I never knew existed. It amazed me that a melody could become a bridge. For so long, I thought my voice was just a target, something to mock or fear. Yet on that stage, even briefly, it tied strangers together. That realization gave me courage to keep performing, no matter how small the audience. Of course, prejudice didn't disappear overnight. There were still stares in the marketplace, still words whispered sharp as knives. But something shifted in me. When I sang, I felt taller, steadier. Each note was a reminder that I was more than what people saw on the surface of my skin. That realization planted a dream in me. I didn't want to just survive. I wanted to help others like me. Children still hiding in the shadows, silenced by shame. If music could carry me into the light, maybe it could open a path for them too. That hope kept growing. The first time I sang at a community event, my heart raced so fast I thought I might collapse. The crowd wasn't huge, but it felt enormous to me. I sang about loneliness, about wanting to belong. For a moment, the room grew so quiet I realized they were actually listening. As the applause rose, I looked around and thought of the boy I used to be. The one running from stones, the one hiding in classrooms. That boy was still inside me, trembling. But for the first time, I felt him begin to believe we deserved to stand in the light. Not everyone welcomed my songs. Some said my music was a waste. Others muttered that I should stay quiet. Their words still hurt. But each time, I reminded myself, music had already saved me once. And now, it was saving others, one verse at a time. That realization pushed me toward something bigger. I wanted to reach out to children with albinism who were still hiding, afraid of the same cruel whispers I had grown up with. My guitar became more than an instrument. It became a key to open hearts. I started a group, small at first, just a few people gathered in a dusty room. We shared stories, laughed at the little things, cried about the harder ones. In their faces, I saw reflections of my younger self, afraid, uncertain, but still carrying sparks of courage waiting to ignite. Over time, those meetings grew. We became a foundation with a name, a voice, and a purpose. I never thought the boy who once wanted to vanish in the market would become someone leading others out of shadows. But life has a way of surprising you when you choose not to give up. Sometimes I imagine what it would be like if my parents sat in the audience. Would they see pride where there was once shame? Would they finally see me for more than my skin? Even if it never happens, the thought gives me a fragile kind of healing I still hold on to. On stage, I sometimes close my eyes and let the music carry me back to the boy who once questioned why he was alive. I whisper to him in my songs, "You matter. You are more than their stares." And maybe, in some way, he finally believes me. I won't pretend the struggle is over. Prejudice still exists. The whispers haven't vanished. But now, I face them with something I didn't have before, a voice that carries further than their hate. Each song is a reminder that difference doesn't mean weakness. It can mean strength, if you let it. If you've listened this far, thank you. My story isn't finished, and acceptance is not a destination I've reached yet. But through music, I've learned to have hope. What would you say to me if you were my friend? Share your thoughts below, and consider subscribing for more stories like mine.